Good morning, River of Life Community Fellowship. It is time for our Monday edition of Sunday School, where we get to have a short daily devotion since we can't meet for Sunday School. And this week, I'm going to be taking time to talk about some of my favorite Bible verses. And today, we're going to be in Psalms 46:10, and I'm going to read that for you here. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. Now, many of us have heard that verse, at least the first part of it, be still and know that I am God. It's kind of a very well-known verse. In fact, like if you go onto the YouVersion Bible app and you click on the verse, you can look at images that people have made of it. And most of those images include only the first phrase, be still and know that I am God. And that's kind of the part that people focus on. And it's good because that is a very powerful statement. And what really stands out to me about every time that I read this verse is the word be still. Because the Hebrew word for be still means to cease striving. And I think what always stands out to me about that is like to cease striving doesn't mean to stop doing, because there's things that God calls us to do, things that God tells us to do. But what he tells us to do is to cease striving in doing it, so that we're not supposed to be doing these things that God tells us to do out of our own effort, out of our own ambition, out of our own power. Instead, we're supposed to rely on God to do that, to do them through us. Now, I grew up bowling. Like I love bowling, and I haven't been able to do it regularly for a very long time, but I do remember like growing up being taught how to bowl, that if you watch any professional bowlers, any good bowlers, you see that their ball never rolls straight. And and then you watch people who have seen this, who try to do it, and they're trying to get their ball to hook, and it looks kind of funny. And the reason that is because the balls that the professional use and people who bowl a lot use are actually made to curve. They have the weight, the way they're built, the inside of them is weighted in a certain way that it is going to cause it to curve as it's rolling. And I remember, learning how to do that, learning how to throw that hook, and just being told so many times, slow down and let the ball work. And that was just and like this verse reminds me of that. Like we were created to do things through God's power, and God does things through us. And there's so many times that we're trying to do things, that we're trying to make this happen, or trying to make that happen, or trying to see this, or trying to fix that, and like we're not letting God work through the situation. We're trying to do it in our own power. And what we need to do is we need to be still. We need to cease striving and let God do his work, and just let him do it through us. It's kind of, one analogy that I have is it's kind of like a flashlight. Like you got a flashlight and there's all these different pieces and parts, but the part that makes the light is the light bulb. That's the part that shines, and everything else is there to help the light shine, to make the light shine. In so many ways, we are kind of like the everything else in the flashlight. God is the light, and he wants to shine through us, and we just have to allow him to do that. And so that's my encouragement for you today, is to remember that. And I think one of those things that just stands out to me in the verse is the part that doesn't get put in all those fancy verse images, is the last two lines in the verse, which says, I will be exalted among the nations, I will be exalted in the earth. And that God will be exalted because he's the one doing the work. He's the one with the power. He's the one with the presence. He's the one with the ability. And we just have to kind of step back and let him do what he's going to do through us. And so that's my encouragement to you today, is to make sure as you're dealing with everything going on in your life, to be still, to cease striving and let God do his work. And then I just have this question. Have you ever seen that in your life? Have you ever seen times in your life when you've been working so hard at something, working so hard to make something happen, and then when you actually say, this isn't working, and you step back and just trust God, that God does it, that God does these things because he's the one that has called us to do the work, and he's the one that provides the power to do it, and we just have to kind of step out of the way and let him do it. So if you've ever had that happen in your life, I encourage you to put that in the comments, and let everyone else know that, because it's through telling what God has done in our lives and through our lives that we get to see God working and our faith is built. So comment if you have something to say, if God has shown you this verse in real life, and like and share this video if it's touched your heart. But the main thing is to remember to cease striving, to let God do the work. Thanks, and God bless.